Welcome parents. I'm Blanca.
And I'm Nancy. Thank you very much for answering my phone calls and text messages.
Yeah, answer Nancy. I wanted to remind you guys the importance of child's game. I hope you're practicing your child's game 2 to 3 times a week. It's going to be helpful in the other sessions coming up. Okay. Also, your session 3.3, your pamphlet for 3.3 and 3.5, very important to complete that. If you have any questions about it, we will be zooming in and we'll answer all the questions you have. Okay.
Okay, parents. So today's session is session 4, and we're going to talk about goals and objectives.
Mm-hmm.
But before we go into that, I would like to talk to you a little bit about our child development.
Mm-hmm.
It is very important. If you guys recall, we gave you a handbook with session 2,
Mm-hmm.
and it's called what my child can do.
Mm-hmm.
And right there on these handouts, we saw the different ages of our kids and what are the things that they can do at that particular age. This is very important, and it's true when we're going to set behavior goals for our children. We have to be realistic of what they're able to do according to their age. And you guys should know better than anyone what your child is capable of doing.
Mm-hmm. This pamphlet, it tells you or gives you an idea what they are emotionally, socially, and developmentally. Okay, now we're going to talk. Shut up, Nancy.
No, pues ya colgué.
Okay, now we're going to discuss unrealistic expectations. Okay, what is unrealistic expectations? What happens in these situations? For example, what do you think happens to a child if a parent expects too much from them?
Well, if what happens to a child when it's expected too much of them,
Mm-hmm.
They start feeling frustrated. They
Mhm.
feel frustration because they feel that they are not capable of doing whatever their parents are telling them to do. This lowers their self-esteem.
Mhm.
So this causes frustration and low self-esteem on the child.
So, what do you think happens to parents when they expect too much from their child?
This also causes frustration to the parents because they want their kids to get things done in a certain
Mhm.
way, and they're not getting it done, so it causes frustration and anger.
Yes.
And this might cause more problems. Instead of fixing a problem, it can create a bigger problem.
Very good. So, what happens to a child if a parent expects too little? Because this is something very common too.
That also causes low self-esteem because these children know they're capable of doing things on their own or doing more, but just the fact that the parent doesn't let them do these things, or just keeps them, oh, you can't do it, or you don't do it the right way, or you don't do it the way I want it, that lowers their self-esteem, and it causes frustration.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So you have an idea of what children feel, okay? Because at the moment we only think of, oh my God, this kid, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, I ask him. But we have to see the whole picture, okay? In order to understand and do some sort of change in their behavior, in our behavior, we have to see and understand what's happening here, okay? Now we're gonna do a really quick discussion or scenarios. As parents, how can we change this, or how can we see this in a different way, okay? For example, let's say Billy, he's a 9-year-old little boy, and he's going grocery shopping with mom. And he wants ice cream because it's hot, and you know what? I want ice cream. Mom turns around and says, Billy, I can't buy you ice cream right now. We have to buy groceries. We came specifically for groceries. Billy, 9 years old, turned around, starts throwing tantrums. No, why? You never buy me nothing. Why? Throws himself on the floor, starts crying and kicking and yelling. Now, Nancy, do you think this is normal for a 9-year-old boy?
No, Blanca, I don't think this is normal or typical of a 9-year-old. This behavior would be more typical of maybe a 4 or 5-year-old. But probably this 9-year-old Billy, he would probably just, instead of doing a tantrum and getting mad, he would probably just be like promising you that he is gonna behave or he's gonna do something at home.
Please,
Please, mom, I'm gonna behave. I'm gonna do my homework if you buy me this. So he's gonna try to bribe you, or tell you he's gonna do something in exchange.
More
for whatever.
typical of a 9-year-old, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Different scenario, okay? Anita, she is a 6-year-old girl, and she's in the playground, and they have all these toys and stuff, and Nancy comes along, and she says, "Here, Nancy, it's for you. All this for you. How are you feeling? Are you sad? What's going on?" Remember, Anita is a 6-year-old girl. Is this normal, or is this within their age range?
No. Anita, a 6-year-old would typically concentrate more on feeling more on her self needs. She'll be like, no, this is mine. She wouldn't really share. Kids at this age are really hard to understand about sharing, so they want everything. They're more selfish. They want things for themselves.
Different scenario. Jamal, okay, he is 8 years old. Okay, let's put 8 years old. Jamal is 8 years old. He's a boy, and mom takes out all his clothes the day before he's gonna go to school. She irons the clothes. She sets up the shoes and the socks and the clothes right in his bed. Okay, making sure that Jamal has everything that he needs for the next day. Do you think this is something that is normal within the age range?
Well, it all depends, but typically an 8-year-old should be able to do these things on his own, and this will help a lot for the child to learn to be independent, more independent, and do things on his own. But another thing that mom can do instead of choosing the clothes for him would be to maybe choose 3 or 4 outfits and let him choose, to kind of give him that
Independent responsibility.
Yes, that's correct.
Very good. So now a different scenario. Okay. Lisa, she's 7 years old, and Grandpa gave her a 1,000-piece puzzle to do. What do you think is going to happen with Lisa?
Well, first of all, Lisa is 7 years old, so a 1,000-piece puzzle would not be a good choice for a gift. Why? Because this is going to be really frustrating for her. She's going to lose interest. She's going to feel frustrated. Maybe this would lower her self-esteem, thinking that she is not good enough to finish that puzzle. So maybe a better idea of a gift for a 7-year-old would be, if it's a puzzle, maybe a puzzle with
25
big pieces, something easier, or maybe another type of toy or game that she is able to play with no problem.
Okay, let's have another scenario. Allie. Okay, Allie's a 6-year-old boy, and the sister is going to play soccer. Okay, she's going to have a tournament. Those soccer games are pretty long. They're 90 minutes. Okay, Dad and Mom want to participate and see, but they want to take Allie along. Okay, Allie is a 6-year-old girl. They expect her and want her to sit down and watch her sister play throughout the game. Do you think, Nancy, it is realistic for a 6-year-old to sit through a 90-minute game without running around and doing things?
No, this is not realistic. Let's remember, like we said on the handouts that we gave you, a 6-year-old would want to be playing around. Maybe there's more kids, would be running around and playing with them, not really paying attention. So this would be really unrealistic, and it would be really frustrating for the child and the parents to try to keep that child for 90 minutes just sitting on a bleacher and watch
a game. Remember, it's going to only get people upset. Remember, when parents were upset or angry, it leads to other stuff that we want to avoid. Sometimes we end up hurting our children because we react through that emotion, because the child doesn't stay still.
Okay, so now that we talk about our child development, now we're going to go to the goals and objectives, and we're going to do a little exercise on how to goal setting. Remember, parents, that in order to change a behavior or decide to decide what behavior we want to change, we have to determine the objectives for our children. And the unwanted behaviors are the behaviors that we don't want. These are the things that we don't like that they do. And we're gonna try to change this and find and see what we actually want them to do. So Blanca, what is something that you don't like that your children do? What is the behavior that you don't like?
Although there be so many behaviors that I would like to change, or one of the ones that I can think that it bothers me the most right now is when my son takes a shower, he tends to take off his clothes and throw them and scatter them all over the bathroom floor. That pisses me off.
So what is it that you would like him to do? What would be a positive way, or what's something positive that you would like him to do?
Instead of, I would like him to put his dirty clothes in the hamper where it belongs.
Okay, so now that we see that we know what we don't like, we have to be more clear, and we have to look at them in the eye and tell them what we want them to do and how we want them to do.
We want to make sure that they understand and it's clear what we're trying to tell them. So now go to your handout 4.1. We're going to talk about objectives, okay? Determine objectives for our children. That's the name of the title thing. 1, when you want to create an objective, make sure you start with I, okay? We are the ones that want this, okay? For example, I want Sally to make her bed each morning, okay? Again, start with, this is what I would like to do. I want Sally, okay? 2, objectives for children must be clear, or our children will not know what we need, okay? So remember, we're not playing here, guess what I want you to do. We have to be clear with what we want them to do.
That's correct, and that's why we should know what we want. So know what you want your child to do first, and when you want it, and how often. This can help you give a more clear objective or instruction to your child, and say what you want to say. Also, remember, when you tell your children, when you give this objective to your children, ask them if they're understanding. Ask them if they understand what you want, when you want it, and how often. And you can also tell them to repeat what you just told them. That way there is understanding, and that way they're not going to come with this excuse that I didn't get it, you didn't tell me. You made sure that they were understanding what you wanted them to do.
A third one, objectives must be or are positive, okay? Positive means, remember the scenario that what you want me to do with the clothes for my son. For example, one of the positive objectives, I want Johnny to answer politely when I talk to him, rather than saying something negative like, don't be sassing at me. I don't want you to be sassy. So remember that kids learn better when they know what to do instead of what not to do.
Yes, so now on our handout 4.3, which is called Objective Checklist, this is a checklist that is going to give you certain scenarios, and we're going to determine if the scenarios are clear, or actually these are objectives, if they're clear, and if it's positive.
1, I want Randy to stop being messy. I want Randy to stop being so messy. Is that clear?
Okay, so this is not clear.
Why do you say that?
And it is not positive. Why is it not clear? Because maybe what messy means to me might not be for you. So maybe if Randy just has
his hair
all messed up, and
to me that's
really
messy.
And maybe to me that's fine. I mean, it's just a hairstyle. So how can we change this into a more positive and clear instruction? Would be, I want Randy to have his hair combed every morning.
Good job. Wow. Okay, good. You see? Okay, another situation where I want Jamal to be more responsible. Is that clear and positive?
Well, I would think that this is not, I would say this is not clear, but it is positive. Why not clear? Because We are not really defining what responsible means for me. Maybe what my sense of responsibility is very different from Jamal or from you, Blanca. So I would say I want Jamal to be more, I want Jamal to wash his hands every time before dinner and after dinner wash his dishes. This is more being more specific, and we are letting him know what his responsibility is before dinner and after dinner.
Wow, good. Okay, so let's try another scenario. I want Maria to make her bed each morning before she leaves to school. Is that clear, positive?
Yes, it is clear and it is positive because we're being clear by telling Maria that we want the bed done every morning before leaving school.
Good, very good. Okay, so parents, now you have somewhat an idea of what is clear, what is positive, and how to use I statements. Okay, good. Okay, parents, so now if you go into look in your handout 4.4, it talks about pinpoint behaviors, okay? Although we have situations at home and frustrations, and I'm sure there's a lot of behaviors that our children are doing, and we wish we could have a doop and change everything right now and then. But we have to master something in order to change something good. So focus on a behavior that you want to change now in your children. A behavior that might say it's something small. We don't want to focus on a huge thing and fail or not be thorough with something that we cannot. We have to be realistic with what we can change right now. Okay. So one of the scenarios or one behavior that would like to change that's realistic for me would be the one that I used with Nancy. I want my child to pick up the clothes that he leaves all over the bathroom when he showers. Okay, so that's a specific behavior that I want to focus on. I know you're gonna have a lot of questions and so on. We will work on this when we have the Zoom time. If you have any questions, or we could help you be more specific on or pinpoint a behavior that's happening right now. Okay.
Okay, parents, and now the home practice. So for home practice, please keep on practicing your child's game for at least 3 to 4 times during the week, and for only 5 minutes if possible. If you could do it longer, that's great. And also on your handout session 4.5, there is this chart that's called Record of Positive Social Rewards. And on this chart, you're gonna write the wanted behaviors. Remember that the wanted behaviors are goals and objectives, and remember these are statements that begin with I. So just write down what you want that behavior. I want you to put your backpack in the closet every time you come from school. So remember, use the word I. And during the week, when you see that your child is doing this wanted behavior, just mark a letter I on that day that he did it, and that way you can see it, keep track if your child is following your instructions with the I statements. Okay. And also remember your handout from last session, handout 3.3, where you sit with your child and talk with your child about the things your child likes. So the things your child likes, write them down. This is very important because we're going to be using this handout later on in future sessions, and it's going to be a tool that's going to help us go on with the next sessions.
Okay. So remember, parents, participation is very important. In order to change anything in your child, you must do the home practice. Child's game, very important, like Nancy said. Every time you have questions, remember to write them down. When we Zoom, you can ask all these questions and we can help you, through the question itself. This makes you eligible. Remember, each week we pick a parent from the parenting group for a prize for those who participate and are active within our Zoom. And at family session, which is a Zoom, you're eligible for the raffle. Ta-da! Okay, so very important. Please do your homework. Thanks for watching. Bye.